Hello, my friends. Rich Lohman here. Welcome to this teaching lesson, and I'm excited that you're here. I'm the author of Fully Resourced: Four Leadership Shifts That Turn Activity into Accomplishment, and I am the founder of the Fully Resourced Leadership System. Again, I'm excited that you're here to engage in this conversation. We're going to do some Q&A afterwards, but for now, I just want to engage in the content that I want to share with you. Now, for trying to help you understand what this content is, this content comes from recent coaching sessions that I had, and it's really pulling out the 10 truths, leadership truths that come out of the coaching sessions. For me, I've had a lot of real world experience in corporate America and as an entrepreneur and had the successes that I've had. But I've also had the ability to see what my clients have been able to generate as their successes through the coaching that I've done with them. So this teaching comes out of some recent coaching sessions and the truths that we'd like to start to identify. So not going to be a long teaching, but I do want to engage in the Q&A afterwards and help support you. This is, kind of, as you well know, the mentorship side of the business where coaching, has its side of the business. So, without further ado, let's get into the 10 leadership truths that came out of coaching sessions this week. First and foremost, number one is unclear roles create inconsistent standards. Unclear roles create inconsistent standards. What I have is, leaders that have teams, and the teammates are struggling with lacking clarity. When a teammate lacks clarity, the leader has put that teammate in an unsafe position because they don't feel safe if they don't know what to do. They don't feel safe if they don't know what they're trying to get to. So, like, this safety is really the root core of what causes people to become overwhelmed, burnt out, because they're struggling and they're doing all this activity, but they don't know if they're accomplishing the right thing, if they're accomplishing anything. When people are responsible for too many things without clear ownership, performance eventually suffers. And that's what I see out of a lot of my clients right now is if they're lacking clarity, that's where we have to start is let's get a clear image of success. Let's get a clear understanding of each person's role and the drivers to the success for each role so that we can break down a person's strengths and weaknesses, where they're going to be gifted and where they're not gifted within the role, within the activities to get to the singular accomplishment that you as a leader want. So first, truth in leadership is unclear roles create inconsistent standards. Number two, stop solving every problem for your people. I wish I could say this to myself in my parenting years when the kids were all still in the house. Too many times I wanted to solve problems for them. Too many times because I like to solve problems. I don't like to have people feel pain. And most of the time when people have pain, they have the root of it is they have a problem they're working through. But sometimes you need to let the people solve their own problems. Leadership changes when you stop being the answer. And that's the thing is you're the bottleneck if you're always the answer because everybody flows to you to be able to solve the problem. And you start asking questions of the people that build ownership. That's one of the biggest things that I see is the leader's the bottleneck, but they're asking for accountability. They're asking for ownership, but they're doing it the wrong way to be able to create it because they don't want people to go through, the failures, the pain points of failure, the burnout of it, all that kind of stuff. But failure is the best teacher of success because you realize now what you're not supposed to do. So that's a big one in the truth. Too many leaders are solving every problem and they're the bottleneck to the growth of the team. And you're not going to get results that way when you have to be the one solving all the problem. You just have a job and you're handcuffed to your business 24/7, 365, solving other people's problems. Number three is compassion and accountability belong together. Let's look at a coin. A coin has heads side and tail side, two different sides of every coin. The head side is compassion. If you don't give your people compassion, they're not going to follow your vision. People, John Maxwell said this once. Remember it vividly. People buy into the leader before they buy into the vision. The buying into the leader means that they buy into the compassion that the leader offers the people. But on the other side of it is the accountability. That's the tail side. We have to have accountability. Accountability, is that ownership around the role and the activities to get the result that somebody's supposed to do. So caring about people doesn't require lowering the standard. Strong leaders learn to give grace while maintaining clear expectations. Give grace, show mercy when people are falling short, but never lower the standard. Always carry that high standard. This week, I did have a client that said, "Should I lower my standard? Do I have too high of expectations of the people around me?" I said, "No. You're looking for the people that you can develop and raise up to those standards and those expectations." That's why we actually do the inner capacity assessment to figure out where a person's standards are to their energy that they bring to their role, to the clarity that they bring to the role, and the structure and stability that they're going to bring to the role. That connection and support. Do they know how to connect with you to get the help, but also do they know how to do it themselves? Because confidence and belief in self to follow through on the purpose and the mission, that's the key to it. So that's a big one is compassion and accountability are two sides of the same coin. They are the same conversation, just had differently. The fourth truth is many performance problems are actually energy problems. Too often, I see leaders that are frustrated with performance. And what I break it down and I really work to frame it is identify why performance is lacking. Do they not have the knowledge and skill to get the outcome you're looking for, the performance that you need them to have, or do they not have the standards to do it? Again, the inner capacity assessment shows and reveals to me that many people actually know how to do what they're supposed to do. They have good sense of the knowledge and skills to accomplish success in the role, but they don't have the standards to do it. So, when we say performance is actually an energy problem, frustration, pressure, and unresolved tension eventually show up in behavior and performance. Leaders need to recognize what people are carrying. I heard this a while ago. I'm going to say that again. Leaders need to recognize what people are carrying because I heard this from the most amazing source. You can't lead the people if you can't find the people. What I learned when I started looking for people is their energy was depleted, their clarity was depleted, and they didn't feel safe. That their connection to the purpose, the mission, the people was depleted, and they felt isolated. And too often, people didn't believe in themselves and didn't believe in the mission, and they were depleted. When you find the people, you can better lead the people. So that's a huge truth. Is performance is actually an energy problem, mental, physical, and emotional. That's where we start in coaching. Number five in the truths, difficult conversations get easier when you have a process. I'm going to say that one again. Difficult conversations get easier when you have a process. I spent a lot of time this weekend for probably the next 6 to 8 weeks. I'll be with one company, 200 locations all across North America, digging deeper into the process of having difficult conversations. Avoidance often comes in difficult conversations for not knowing how to approach the conversation. A repeatable process that actually creates clarity and confidence. So let me explain. I learned in my own personal life this process of a 7-step formula to frame up what a difficult conversation successfully could look like. That's the key is when you don't frame it up, when you don't have the framework, it's either going to be that you'll get emotional. It's either be that you'll try to avoid confrontation. You'll be a people pleaser. There's a lot of things that uh, are causing it. Stakes are high, energy and emotion is high. A lot of people are frustrated right now, so it becomes tension. But the framework actually teaches people how to frame it up so that you can talk about the issue and how you saw or heard about the issue and what you think about the issue and what you feel about the issue and what you want in replace of the issue and what your proposal is to resolve the issue and where you're committed to resolving said issue. So that's the framework that we can start to build apart or build up so that we're lifting people up, we're building relationships, we're encouraging people, and we're helping them resolve the issues that they may be having in their role. The sixth truth about leadership coming from coaching sessions is a knowledge problem and a standards problem are not the same thing. They're not the same thing. If someone doesn't know how, develop them. If someone doesn't want to do what you're asking them to do, then you address the standards. And they don't come right out and say, I don't want to do this. They come out and say, oh, I'm so tired, or I'm so frustrated, or I'm so distracted, or you see those fatigue and or distractions and or lethargy. But the real thing is if people have a knowledge and skill issue, you have to have a training program to develop the knowledge and skills that are required to be excellent in the role. This is a subcategory of this, but I see people hiring people thinking that they are perfect for the role and never have a knowledge and skill development plan for that person. And they're setting themselves up for failure and they're setting this person that they're hiring up for failure. Once you can get into it and identify, the knowledge and skill gaps, and then you can identify where the standards are low, you can actually create a repeatable process and system. That is actually what the fully resourced leadership system is founded on, is a repeatable process and system that turns activity into accomplishment because we're developing people. The seventh truth is different expectations create unnecessary tension. I learned this a long time ago. If somebody has expectation A and then somebody else has expectation B and they're different, then what it does is it creates friction when you're trying to, get along, mesh gears, make things go right. But when you have a singular expectation, then what you have is two people aligned. There's no friction, there's no tension, and people then get to pursue the knowledge and skill in the standards to achieve what they're supposed to. But when the expectations are different, then it becomes a lot of tension. Here's one of the simple ways that I look at this when somebody is being hired for a position and they're under-resourced, not seen as a professional from a knowledge, skill, or standards base, but they're hired, their expectation was, I needed to get a job. And the hiring party is, I hired somebody for the job, but they never settled in on the singular expectation. So this person feels successful, this person feels successful, but the work needs to start. When the work starts, that's when the tension starts because people don't want to do it, don't know how to do it, and there's no development process from the other side, and it creates a lot of tension. Tension is different than problems. Problems arise when somebody really doesn't know how and they don't know. But this person is causing as much of the tension as they are the problem because they don't have anything but an expectation that this person will perform. So it becomes this. You created a problem out of something that didn't need to exist. It was just tension, but now you need to, if you don't address it, it becomes a problem. The eighth truth that came out of coaching sessions, leadership truth, is your success image should be a daily filter. Let me explain. When you start off a day and you started off by being distracted, then you don't know what success is supposed to look like because you're distracted by something that isn't successful. It could be, social media, it could be politics. There's a lot of distractions in our world today. But when you zero in on at the right time, zero in on your image of success that you've already created, and you're in a rhythmic cycle to study that image of success, and then look at your calendar and focus, filter in what are the right activities, what are the right relationships that are going to help me get the outcome that I'm looking for today. And then you stack days on top of each other on the filter of your success image, what you actually see is measurable gains from the process. Leadership growth doesn't come from writing down who you want to become. It comes from allowing the picture to influence today's decisions. That today's decisions create the action. The action is the executable plan for you to become the success that your role or your team or your company require of you. The ninth truth that came out of coaching sessions, leadership truth, is intentional leadership beats reactive productivity. I see too many people in this day and age that show up each day and go into reactionary mode, fight or flight mode, firefighting mode, and they wonder why. One, they're burnt out, and two, they're not getting the results that they want. It's because there is no intentional leadership. A full calendar and a complete task list don't necessarily mean you led well. The goal is not simply getting more done, it's leading yourself intentionally through what matters. That's why the book and the theme around it is fully resourced, four leadership shifts that turn activity into accomplishment. When you learn these four shifts, that is where you'll become more successful at being an intentional leader. And the last of the truths that I learned about leadership in the coaching sessions this week is leadership requires both influence and authority. It's not one or the other. And this is the problem that I do find is that from a natural giftedness, there are personality types that are gifted at authority. It's part of the personality type. They, are decisive. They like to take control, and that's how they lead. And the other side of it, there are people that want everybody to get along, and that's more of an influence. I want to help you, but they don't use their authority. You have to use both. It's not a either or an or. It's a both. Sometimes the right move is asking questions, listening, building ownership. Sometimes the leader needs to set the expectation, make the decision, and hold the standard. And you can't use one over the other too often because your ROI, your return on investment of using one or the other is going to struggle. Now, on the flip side, when you start to learn to find the rhythm between the two, what you'll start to see is that not only do you hold your authority, but you'll also build your influence. When you have authority plus influence, what you naturally start to see is better results. So, this is the 10 truths that I learned about leadership this week in just 3 coaching sessions. I had over 20 coaching sessions this week. Would love to share more with you. But what I want to know is what kind of questions do you have about one, your leadership or some of these truths that I've just shared with you? And what I would like you to do if you're catching this on a recording is comment wherever you're seeing the recording, comment with a question or comment on a truth so that it can help me build more truths that I can share with you all. My name's Rich Lohman. I'm the author of Fully Resourced, 4 Leadership Shifts that Turn Activity into Accomplishment. I'm the founder of the Fully Resourced Leadership System. It's a system that is designed to help people build the knowledge, build the skill, build the standards to lead themselves, lead others, and lead for results on a daily, regular basis. If that's something you're looking for, reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you.